Hello everyone. Now that we've gone over lists and tuples, let's talk about another type in Python called a dictionary. Unlike a list or a tuple, where an integer is always an int, a dictionary allows for what's called key-value pairs. A key is similar to an index. Instead of 0, 1, 2, or 3, it can be anything. It really can be any data type, typically strings. So, for instance, if we had spam, where list was the different types of spam, regular, light, bacon, and smoked, a dictionary, we would specify both the key and the value for each of those. Those keys could be integers. We could say for regular, the index or key is 0, and the value is regular. For light, maybe the key is 1, and the value is light, and so on and so forth. So let's go back into idle, and we'll play around with some dictionaries. So let's take our trusty variable spam, and we'll set it equal to a dictionary. So how do we define a dictionary in Python? We use the brace, or the squiggly bracket that you might be used to in other languages. And after you put a squiggly bracket, or brace, you define your key-value pair. So, for instance, if we want to create a dictionary that was similar to the lists we created, we could set 0 equal to regular. So you denote that with the index, colon, or key, colon, and the value. Key, colon, value, comma, key, colon, value, comma, and so forth. So our first pair is an integer 0 and a string value regular. Our second key value pair is an integer 1 and a string value light. Our third key value pair is an integer 2 and for the key, and a value of bacon. And our last key value pair will be an integer of 3 and a string of smoked. To close out your dictionary that you're defining, you use another brace, and typically, we'll put spaces and make this nicely formatted. So what I've done here is I've created a dictionary that's similar to the spam list we created in previous videos, so we can access it the same way. If we want to access the first item, we could do spam, open bracket, 0, and that would be regular. Spam, open bracket, 3, would be smoked. Now there's something to consider, that even though I've used integers here, there's no guarantee the dictionary is ordered. So lists are ordered groups, tuples are ordered groups, but dictionaries are unordered groups. So if I were to say, look at the first item in the dictionary, theoretically it could be any item. You should always be accessing items in the dictionary by their key. So now let's create a new variable spam, but let's use string-based key-value pairs. So let's describe the properties of spam. So maybe weight is 8 ounces. And maybe size is medium. And taste is good. And I'm going to save that to spam now. Now let's say I want to know the weight of spam. I type spam, open bracket, and I type in the string weight. And that's I wish I could spell, the key, and the value is 8 ounces. Let's say I want to know the size of spam. Spam, open bracket, size, close bracket. That is medium. And how does spam taste? Open bracket, taste. Spam tastes good. So, again, these are key-value pairs. You define key and value, and that allows you to store all items into a single variable. Now, we can iterate through the items in the list, much like we iterate through items in the dictionary, much how we iterate through items in the list. But typically, you use for loops to iterate through items in the dictionary. So we can iterate through keys or values or the key-value pairs themselves. Now, how do you do that? Just like lists, the dictionary object in Python has methods. So, let's say I want to iterate through all the keys. Let's go back and let's copy our spam definition here. And we're going to go back to Visual Studio Code. So in line 1, we're defining a dictionary spam. Its weight is 8 ounces, its size is medium, its taste is good, and those are all key-value pairs, a string key and a string value. So let's iterate through the list and display it to the screen. Let's iterate through all the keys. So for key in spam.keys. That's a method. Print. And we'll print the key. So what is this going to do? Theoretically, this should print weight, size, and taste. So let's run our command prompt. And we see here all of the keys, weight, size, and taste. Now let's say we want to iterate on the values. So we will say for value in values, print the value. So this should theoretically print 8 ounces, medium, and good. So let's run it again. 8 ounces, medium, and good. So those are the keys and the items method. So the keys and values method. So what they do is they return essentially what are lists of the keys and a list of the values. Now we can return items, and what items returns is a pair, almost like a tuple, of the key and the value, or a name value pair. So let's go back in. For item in spam.items, items is the method. We're going to print key, and then we will display item 0 plus, and a lot of times we're just doing this to make it look good, plus item 1. Alright, so, we want to type in value here, and I'll explain this in a second. Alright, yeah, I know we've concatenated a lot of strings here, but let's talk about what this does. So, essentially, for each item in spam, so one item would be weight, 8 ounces, that key value pair. The next item would be size and medium, that key value pair. And the next would be taste and good, that key value pair. What are we doing? We're iterating through all the items, and we're printing. The key will be the 0th item, and the value will be the first item. And we're just wrapping some strings around it to make it look good. Let's run this application. And we see here your weight is 8 ounces, size is medium, and value is good. We always want to make our code look good, and it looks like I made an extra space here, and I forgot a space here. So let's save that. Let's make this look a little better. Remember, all your programs should look good on the screen. Oh, there we go. Nice spacing between the commas. So your key, for the key weight, the value is 8 ounces. For the key size, the value is medium. And for the key taste, well, spam it, we know it's good. Sometimes, and oftentimes, we'll use dictionaries to store JSON values. And we're not going to talk about that this week. What that means is there may or may not be a specific key in a dictionary. So if there's not a key, we may want a default value. So we know that spam has a key weight. We know that spam has a key size and a key taste. But what if it had a key color? Now we don't know if it's color. If the dictionary has a color defined. So what we can do is we're just going to get rid of this since we've gone over it. Let's print spam color. And let's see what this does. We'll save this, and if we try to run it, we're going to get an error. Oh, there's no key color. What we can do is use the get method. So spam.get, and what you do is you type in the key, the name of the key, or use what if it's an integer, you can use an integer, and then you type a default value. So spam is salmon colored. We'll put salmon in there. So what we're saying is you grab the key called color, but if the key isn't there, go ahead and display the value salmon. So let's save this. Let's run it again. And now we see salmon. But let's go back and let's add color to our dictionary on line 1. So color, let's say our spam is moldy, so color is green. Let's save it. And now if we run this application, we will see green. We don't need the default value because the key is present of color in our dictionary. So there's a lot of other methods on dictionary, but for now this is really all we need to go over. So again, just think of it like a list, but a key value pair allows your, you don't have to stick to an index, but your key can be of any type. Oftentimes it's a string. And you access it instead of an index value in a list or a tuple. You access it in the same way using brackets, but you put the key in there to grab the value associated with that key.